Hello everyone and welcome to my channel DB Designs and Sewing Australia. My name's Deb and welcome back, or welcome if you're brand new to this channel. This is a channel all about sewing and inspiration and giving each other inspiration for sewing. And you see so many great outfits people have made you think, I have to get that pattern. And great fabrics, fabulous fabrics people buy. Admittedly, some of them are from overseas, but Australia do have a lot of great fabrics also, and a lot of great fabric suppliers and your smaller bespoke type of fabric suppliers as well. So always handy to watch the videos, and that often will give you a link so that you can see where to buy it from. So a lot of really good things. And I suppose this is a Friday sews, even though it's not Friday. Anyway, now last week when I talked to you about my Gertie society dress, I did forget to tell you a couple of things. Now, it was made in this velvet. It is a stretch velvet, but I did forget to tell you that I made the whole dress in Mariflex thread. And I have hemmed it now, and I had to take 8 centimeters off the bottom. That's how much it dropped. It probably was 4 centimeters when I first tried it on, but it dropped another 4 centimeters over the week, and I just hemmed that last night, which was no feat doing by yourself, I'm telling you. The sewing part was fast, but the getting it the right length did take some time. Pinning it up, checking it, pinning it up, had it on while I was pinning it up, which I guess is the advantage of a stretchy long dress, is that you can pull it around, do the hem, then check the mirror, all that sort of thing. But I've got it to the right length, and I was going to wear it with my long black boots, but my arthritis in my knee has been so bad that sometimes I can't get that boot zipped all the way up on my right leg. So I found some other little navy blue short boots that that have the same heel height as my long black boots, so I can wear either of those with it. But I made it in Mariflex thread, and I also used a walking foot. Now, I don't know if people have a walking foot for their machine, but the velvet was working against itself, so it was always trying to pull itself out of alignment, and the seams were very, very long. And so I used a walking foot, and it was really good. All the seam edges were still the same length when I got to the bottom, and I didn't want to stretch out the top layer, because often when you're sewing a really long seam, in the end, your top layer of fabric is longer than your bottom layer of fabric, because the feed dogs are feeding the bottom layer but not the top layer. And so the idea of walking foot is that, see that coming out? That's a feed dog for the top layer, so it feeds them evenly. Now, when I do bridal and make wedding dresses, I always use walking feet. I have 2 types. I have this one, which is called a closed toe. So you can see it looks like a normal foot. You could do zigzag in there if you wanted to. And I have another one called an open toe. So sometimes when you are sewing lace onto silk, so you're top stitching lace onto silk, and you need to be able to see the lace underneath. So this works in exactly the same way. As the needle goes up and down, this foot will feed up and down and pull the top layer along as well. Very, very handy thing. Not something you buy on a whim, because when I saw them, actually I was in Spotlight looking for more machine needles, and I did notice that some of them, they range between $95 and 110 Australian dollars. They're so expensive. And I noticed that some machines that come with a walking foot, this part here, the lever, actually has a little hook on it that hooks around. but when I bought, I think it was when I bought the open toe one at the Janome shop, the lady told me to make sure that I have this resting on the bar that goes up and down. I'll insert some video of it working on my machine, but a very, very handy hint on how to use a walking foot properly. And so that way I never had any issues with my top layer being longer than my bottom layer. And I didn't want to stretch the bottom layer as I went because it was a knit fabric. I didn't want it to have that puckered seam, and none of my seams puckered, and they're really, really long seams. And so I sewed all of it with Mariflex thread using the walking foot, and I stitched, even when I stitched the power mesh to the torso bodice part, whatever they called it something, I used a walking foot. Just made it all stay even and all stay together. Now, the reason I don't use a walking foot all of the time is because I go slower when I've got a walking foot on, and it makes a real clackety sound. So I sew pretty fast, and so I don't use a walking foot all the time. It's not necessary all the time, but really wonderful for knits and really wonderful for a very, very long seam. Because, you know, some of the time when you've sewn a seam, if you had a full length dress that had a seam all the way from the shoulders to the floor, some of the time you would have a good 4 centimeters of this, what seems to be excess fabric, and then your hemline's not straight. And you have to think, do I pull it out? Before I had a walking foot, some of the time I would sew the seam 1/4 of the way, take it out from under the machine, turn it up in the other direction, sew 1/4, and keep on doing that, because it made my seam length correct in the end, because each of the sides were being taken up by the feed dogs. So just a really handy hint. And so that dress is finished, and it's next Saturday night that I'm going to my girlfriend's party. So I will show you a photo of the dress all dressed up. So the other thing I've been sewing is my Sew April blouse. So this is my Sew April blouse, and it's the Flounce Flounce blouse by Sewing Revival. You can see it there, see in the line drawing. So I actually sewed this one with the long sleeves. And I'd never used Sewing Revival patterns before. A really good pattern, and their instructions are fabulous. So they've got what they call like the quick or easy instructions for people who have sewn a lot before, and then they've got the longer length explanatory instructions, which are really good. So if you get to a point where you think, what do they mean? When I first read it, I thought, what's an RST? Right sides together, that's what it means. So you learn something every day. Now, it was a really lovely sew, and I did a rolled hem, as you can see on here, and this fabric's double-sided. So one side is the larger checks and the other side is the small checks. So it's actually sandwiched together. If you see that, and you can split them apart, it's not glued or anything together. You can see it's got little tiny stitches in it. Really lovely fabric to work with. I thought it might be a little bit on the difficult side and need a walking foot, but it didn't. It doesn't act like double gauze. It's not as shifty as double gauze, and it doesn't get that, sometimes a little puckered crease. You've got to be careful in double gauze that you don't get. And so I loved it. And I put it on this morning and took some photos. I'll be inserting the photos, and I haven't taken it off. Even when we went and did some shopping, I just wore a coat over the top. So really comfortable, and I really like the hem and the width of it around your hips and around your waist. It's really, really nice and really comfortable. Now, in the photo, you'll see in the main picture, in the green linen, you'll see that they've sort of left the flounce raggedy. And by raggedy, I mean they've zigzagged around it, so it won't actually have too many threads coming out of it, but it gives it a much more rustic look. Now, I have got some of this green linen left from when I made the Harlow shirt jacket. And so, although I'm not a let's have frayed edges sort of person, I'm a bit more of a rolled hem person, really, just so that it all looks neat. And I did rolled hem on the cuffs as well, but I didn't do it on the bottom because I actually like quite a decent size hem on things on the bottom section. And although I'm not that sort of frayed edge person, I thought I might give that a go because I think that dress looks lovely. I wouldn't make anything sleeveless because I don't think I'd get the wear out of it. I'm much too self-conscious of my arms to wear sleeveless, and quite frankly, we just haven't had enough summer in the last 2 years to wear many sleeveless things, and I'm a person that's always cold. So I'm going to see how much fabric I've got and how decent a size sleeve I could get at. I would love to make the 3/4 length sleeve dress, but I suspect I could get only a 3/4 length top out of it because a sleeve does actually take up quite a bit of fabric. When you think, yes, I've got enough for a back and the front for a dress, I probably won't have enough for a sleeve. But anyway, loving that pattern, and it was actually my entry to the Sew April blouse that's being held on Instagram by Gabrielle at Cloth Edit and Ruanne at the Yorkshire Sew Girl. So this is my entry for that, and I'm just loving the fact that it's double-sided. That's really groovy. I only have a few colours, and they didn't have a black and white. They haven't even got a black and white fabric spotlight that is not double-sided in a small check gingham, which is actually what I went there looking for, because I was going to make a black and white check gingham one, but I may do that later. And this is actually quite a warm shirt because it's got that double layer. It's actually probably not that great for summer, but it's got long sleeves and your sleeves can pull up. Really, really good. I love an elastic sleeve. So that was one of the things I made. The other thing I made was my husband's shirt. Now, I don't have a photo of this yet because he can't stand still long enough to get a photo, but this is going to be my selfless sew. So it's got the shoulder tabs like he likes, you know, it's got sleeve plackets, cuffs, 2 pockets, big pockets so you can put your glasses and everything else in it. It has got a collar stand as well as a collar. So I just think this colour will look really good on him. He wasn't very impressed because he thinks the fabric's too thin. But I think I told you guys that I got this fabric for like $6. So I thought that would be a really good toile to make for to test out this pattern for him. So I'm yet to get a photo of him in it. It's got a nice back pleat. that's the photo. Whoop, bit shiny in the camera, but that's the photo. And so there's a fair few different styles. I think they all have a collar stand, because I have noticed that some shirt patterns lately have collar stands and some don't have collar stands. So he would always want a collar stand. He does wear some of the summer shirts that I've made him, which is probably what in the old days we called a surfy shirt, is really a camp collar shirt. So it has no collar stand, but it's not his favorite sort of thing. He likes a long sleeve shirt and he rolls up the sleeves, but he doesn't want a tab that holds your sleeve up. You can see that this one, you can do a tab there to hold the sleeve up, but he doesn't want that because apparently that's what women have and not men. So I will put in a photo of my husband Neil in this when I can get a photo of him. The other thing I'm making is I'm making a pair of jeans in this pink, slightly stretched denim. And I'm making the ginger jeans, but I'm making the low-rise ones. So I'll see how that goes. The ones I've got on today and the ones that will be in the photo with this blouse are the high-rise ones. And the high-rise things are very, very high on me when you're short in the waist. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to give the low-rise ones a go and see how they work out. The other thing I've got is I bought the high cuff sweater pattern from the assembly line. And what I had was, I had two dresses that I've probably had for 4 years and I never wear them. And it's actually in this really, really good fabric. I think it's Atelier Brunette. I think that's what that one is. It's a twill. And so I really wanted to get some use out of this fabric. So I cut up the dress, and the sleeves I do have to make in 3 sections, but you probably won't be able to tell. And this fabric, which looks like it's navy and white spot, but it's actually navy in a very, very light pink color. This is actually the Avid Seamstress sheath dress, but it is 4 years old and it is way too big. I've already taken the zip out and I've taken the elastic out of the waist. And I never wear it. And so I was thinking I'm going to turn that into one of those tops by putting the cuffing on, and I'll see how that works out. Quite a good pattern to use up some of your wovens, as it doesn't really take all that much fabric. So that's another thing that I've half cut out. And the other thing that I've cut out is some more a lot of reflection on that. Some more lander pants. So I use a zip. So I've got the zip extension. And I'm making this in the purple cord. So this is the purple cord I had. I think I showed it to you. I think I bought it at the beginning of the year. And some of the purple silk that I dyed when I was dyeing my over-dyed coat, I'm using that for the lining, because the actual pocket, so in the lander pants, these patch pockets are actually made as a lined pocket. You don't put your hand inside the lining like you do in a pair of jeans. You're actually bagging out the pocket. So you're sewing the lining to it, leave a little space and turn it out the right way. So I thought that would be very nice. You do need something that is slightly matching, because as close as you can get to the edge, you can see a slight bit on the edge, and I thought that that colour purple would look fine with this one. So they seem to be in the same colour family. So that's the other thing I've got cut out. And that's all. That's all I've been doing, besides going on Instagram and seeing everyone else's blouses. So many fabulous blouses out there. So many great selfless sews too. We don't have any pets at the moment, but a lot of great pet outfits in the selfless sew. And a lot of great gifts people are making for other people, and children's clothes. So I have noted down some of the children's patterns in it, but so many children's patterns out there, and I have probably got enough of that purple cord left to make 2 of those little girls' skirts. Cannot remember the name of that pattern. So Something Pretty had made her daughter a corduroy skirt, and so I thought I will see if I can get 2 corduroy skirts in size 4 for 2 of my granddaughters out of the leftover purple cord. So I'll have to see how that goes. I know that my bespoke box from the Dahlia Society has been delivered to my work, and I'm not going back to work till Wednesday, so I will get it there. So I'll actually probably come on Wednesday night and do an unboxing. And I know that Australia Post was really, really late with all of those boxes, except for Hayley from the Hay Meadow by the look of it. But I've watched hers because I just can't help myself, and I needed to see what that fabric was. I have looked at that pattern before, so I might still buy that pattern, but I think I will make the Vera top in it, mainly because I wear so many pants and so many jeans. And it's going to be coming up to Me Made May, and I don't really wear very many skirts or dresses to work because you have to walk up metal stairs, and lots of times with safety boots on. So I work for an engineering firm, but I do have to go out in the factory quite a bit. So don't really wear dresses to work very often. Has to be a very, very hot day for me to wear a dress. I might wear a skirt, but not necessarily a dress. And seriously, nothing that you can see up. So I think I'll make the Vera top in that beautiful fabric. So join me on Wednesday for the unboxing, and I believe that Kristen's going to have a very special, because it's her 1-year birthday, for the Dahlia Society shop, and I do believe she's going to have a very special box in for May. So keep an eye out for that. Please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all on Wednesday. Bye.